This is the Global Economic Commodities Scrap Metal and Recycling Report by our Bentley Roll of Trailers and Gondola Trailers, July 5th, 2022. U.S. weekly crude steel production fell to 1.75 million tons on a slow growth economy and lower priced imports taking market share. The U.S. dollar index, the U.S. dollar versus other global currencies. When the U.S. dollar index goes up, commodity prices in dollars typically goes down. It rose to hit 106 yesterday, a 20-year high. This was on expectation of another 0.75% interest rate increase this month and on investors fleeing to a safe dollar. WTI crude oil price rose to 108.43 a barrel on supply shutdowns in Libya and Norway. Also, U.S. oil exports to India are down due to Russia taking our business at lower prices. The U.S. weekly oil rig count rose to 595, the highest in over 2 years. Higher prices are bringing a slow increase. U.S. weekly crude oil production rose to 12.1 million barrels per day, the highest in over 2 years. Higher prices and higher demand are bringing higher production. Scrap steel number one HMS price was steady at $393 a gross ton, but it is about to fall. The strong U.S. dollar is bringing in cheaper imports and U.S. demand is down. Hot rolled coil steel price fell to $48.50 per hundredweight, which is $970 a ton, now half of last year's high. This was on slowing demand and cheaper imports. Copper price fell to $3.51 a pound, a 17-month low. This was on recession fears, but as a positive, China lifted some COVID restrictions. Aluminum price fell to $1.10 a pound, which is $24.18 a metric ton, a 12-month low. This was on the same recession fears, yet soaring Chinese production. China June NBS manufacturing index rose to 50.2, the first factory expansion since February. This was as major economic hubs emerged from the lockdowns. U.S.-made PCE, which is Personal Consumption Price Index. This is the index the U.S. Federal Reserve tracks the most. It was steady at 6.3% as energy rose the most at 35.8% and food rose 11%. U.S. Q1 GDP, which is gross domestic product, which is considered economic growth. It was revised down to a negative 1.6% on supply constraints and lower inventories. 2 quarters of negative growth equal a recession. The U.S. Atlantic Area Federal Reserve Tracker says we're in a recession now. U.S. goods trade deficit. It narrowed to $104.3 billion, the lowest this year. Exports hit a record high, led by industrial supplies. Also, imports fell on less consumer goods and less food. New May orders for U.S.-made capital goods rose 0.7% from April, a strong number. Transportation and capital goods led the increase. Wall Street's Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 404 points to 31,097. This was on slowing manufacturing, slowing GDP, and low consumer morale. Roll-off truck and roll-off trailer parts for sale at Ben Lee. Galbraith, Galfab, American, Palfinger, Dragon, and more. Rollers, tarps, pins, shivs, cables, and more. Also Pioneer, Rollright, Aero, Donovan tarp parts too. Order online or call 734-722-8100. As always, feel free to call or email me with any questions, and we hope all have a safe and profitable week.